Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Chaos-Reighn here, once again bringing you another build video. This is my personal build, my personal tech on a existing build, and a personal kind of like fun project that I have come to just enjoy thoroughly. So, without further ado, I will bring you to my new Tornado Shot Raider. Now, this is a frenzy stacking tornado shot raider, and it's not just a frenzy stacking tornado shot raider. It is a self-chill, reverse chill, self-curse, permanent self-curse, and what is it, berserking tornado shot raider. So, that being said, we have a lot of sources of attack speed, movement speed, damage, more multipliers everywhere, and we're using a relatively pure, unique setup with a lot of investment in jewels and stuff like that. Now, I will say that my specific method is thrown together, and you do not in any way, shape, or form have to copy my method. I basically just do some stuff, but let's get to it. Let's show you what we got going. So first things first, we are running the Doomfletch Prism. Now we are running the Doomfletch Prism for a couple of reasons. One of the biggest ones is the fact that you gain weapon physical as damage of each element. Now I will say this, that there's something to be said about this weapon is that, well, it's not really good inherently. However, we do happen to be using a Trinity support, and what Trinity support does for us is, well, everything. Now, unfortunately, I am currently using here Exile, and that's only because I just threw on an armor. I will be tweaking this in a second, but I'll just get to the rest of the build. The armor was the flex slot. And then our next piece of gear is an Asnas Chant. Now we're using Asnas Chant because our single target is Ice Shot with broad support, so we can kill bosses and stuff like that on tier 14, 15, 16 maps without any issues. Now in our helmet we have a Berserk, Blood Rage, Hydrosphere, and Sniper's Mark. This way we apply our one of curse to enemies normally, and then the other curse is reflected to us, and we'll get to that in a second. So because we have a total of 2 curses, we basically don't have any LE weakness, anything like that, and we're just kind of keeping it that way just for now. Then our next gear is a Pandemonious, and we're using Pandemonious because Pandemonious says chill enemies for 1 second when they're hit, reducing their action speed. Now obviously this is not how we're chilling ourselves, because it's not how that works, but we're chilling our enemies this way, which in turn gives us the shock modifier. Now, the reason we want that, I'll go into in a second, is because we want to be able, actually I'll just tell you, we want to be able to proc Herald of Thunder immediately. And when Herald of Thunder procs, it procs our temporal chains. And I will say this, you do not need anything but level 1 temporal chains and level 1 Herald of Thunder. These are very minimal. You don't even need a high level hex touch. As long as you apply it, you basically, you're gonna be on a roll. Now, my Void Fletcher, it's not really a needed item, but I have it because this is going to be mandatory for you to get the most out of your DPS with this build. You need arrows chain +1 times. Not on a Void Fletcher per se, you can use it on any quiver. So you're going to have to Valorb, and you're going to have to pick 1C quivers, and Valorb, because you want that chain. We're not running Deadeye, we don't get a free chain, we're not running any kind of chain support, anything like that, so our Void Sphere, or our Hydrosphere won't be doing any excesses of damage unless we get that chain. So, on top of that, we'll get into how we're applying Self-Poison. Now we're applying Self-Poison with Ice Fang Orbit and the jewel in our tree. If you come over here, let's see, I think it's right here, the Golden Roll. Golden Roll says poisons are reflected to you and you gain Chaos Res per poison on you. Now we are not taking any other further chance to poison because we're testing things, and as I am saying it now, there's not really a whole lot of reason to use the 100% chance to poison. You only need the 25% chance, and that gets you enough, because all you need is to be able to apply 1 poison on yourself, and then you will be chilled, and you reverse the chill effect, which you then just go zoom zoom. Obviously, I believe I have the jewel here too. I have to double check. If not, I will be adding it in here. Here it is. Replica hot-headed, which says you gain attack speed, movement speed, cast speed with chilled, and I even have effect non-damaging elements, but that's whatever. So on top of all this, we are running a voices. Now, you don't need a voices. If you want to explore and get jewel sockets, you can get something else, or you can use the 7 passive voices and do it that way. I am using 2 split personalities for stats, but I'm mainly using it just for the stats. You can get stats other ways. This is just my way to do it. And then I don't really need this cluster. This is just here. Our biggest thing here is enemies chilled by our hits are shocked, and enemies shocked by our hits are chilled, and that's what we're aiming for. Then we have as much frenzy charges as we can get. As I said, we're frenzy stacking. So we have 1, 2, 3 in our tree. And I'll zoom out, and I heard someone give, just kind of ask, hey, can you make a tornado shot build guide going over the tree and stuff like that? Now, my tree is pretty scuffed, but I will say that this build is relatively solid regardless of the scuffed tree. You are more than able to take this tree and pretty much perform and do whatever you need it to do, so on and so forth. I will say my reses are total trash right now. I plan to fix that either via an armor or whatever I can find. I'm thinking about just running a regular armor or an explode chest or maybe even impulses, because I'm always shocking enemies and they're gonna explode. Or figuring out something along the way, but as it sits, this is where I'm at. I have a sitting still dodge of 40-30 without my Hiri's Ire on, so I have a really good dodge chance. I am running 8 frenzies, I believe. Let me see, that's 1, 2, 7, I think it's 9 frenzies, and with 9 frenzies, that's 18% chance to dodge attack hits. So as soon as I get my frenzies up, which is pretty much instant because I am a raider, I will, become really hard to hit no matter what. And obviously we have the Winter Weave. Now we're going to get into how we're basically using Berserk, okay? So what we're doing is we're applying temp chains on ourselves. Now what this belt says is when you lose temporal chains, you gain maximum rage. And then you're immune to curses while you have at least 25 rage. So this is a double, it's super strong, okay? So the first thing you have to read is you gain maximum rage as soon as you lose temp chains. So let's say you're running through a map and you hit yourself, you temp chains, right? Then once you lose temp chains, you're at 50 rage. You immediately, I have my Berserk inside of my helm, so I immediately Berserk. I go real big, real red, real fast, start just zooming through things, killing things, and things are going down real quick. Obviously, I have super movement speed. I don't have very many issues doing a lot of things, and as you can tell, this is a really thrown together build within a total of 5, 10, 15 minutes maybe, and then tweaking trees and putting regrets in and figuring things out. Now I am using Trinity support and I don't want to apply any extra damage, so right now I'm only have it 2-pronged. For some reason I can't get it the 3rd element, and I think that's because I have a Hiri's Ire adding an insane amount of cold damage. I will probably have to drop this eventually because it also adds cold damage, and figure out how to apply a little more lightning damage, because that's the only element I am not getting. I am getting fire and cold for some reason. Well, aside from that, I am also getting a decent amount of utility from using haste instead of the other ones. I have really good movement speed increase. It's basically like having a corrupt on my boots for free, and I always have it up. And then I have really good attack and cast speed. I don't cast anything, everything's auto cast, and they don't need cast speed, so it's whatever. But I do have the Val Haste, and the Val Haste basically, it's just stupid. As soon as I pop Val Haste, I just go zoom, zoom, zoom. Now I will say there is a world where maybe I can make, drop Self Chill and use Infinite Val Haste in the build, but I don't really want to go into that right now because I don't know too much about this league, and I'm just having fun in Standard still. So that being said, I will now, let me see, there we go. Let's go ahead and put on a different armor. I was kind of prepared, but I was like, well, why am I using this? So I'm just gonna take this out and let's see. Inspiration added, cold pin, ice shot, LE damage with attacks, barrage support. Oh well, looks like we have an impulses already socketed and everything. So just throw everything in here. Throw this in here. Throw these here. Okay. So I'm just going to be using a blue strand. As I said before, these are my reses, so they're really, really bad. I don't have good reses. And I also will say that I don't really need the Pandemonious for this build. I just want the Pandemonious for this build because if I if I chill enemies, guaranteed they're shocked. Now, this is another thing. This says non-chilled enemies I poison are chilled, and this works the same way. So if I chill an enemy, they will immediately become shocked. So I can drop this and pick up like a replica, what do you call it, Hero's Truth, or, well, anything. I can literally put anything in this slot. This is just what I have currently. So let's go ahead and put a tier 14 strand. I will put Elemental Equilibrium. I mean, not put it, but it has Elemental Equilibrium, so you can kind of see things. Nope. Someone's trying to buy my ice shot bows. I have a lot of ice shot bows, so. Alright, so, as I said before, we are basically doing any form of, zoom as possible, and this is basically what it all culminates to. So let's go ahead and start hitting things, get temp chains, and we're off. This is a console for you. If you can't tell, I am having issues with lag. I am having 0 issues killing things though, so that's good. Well, it looks like I was right. I am actually applying my resonance now perfectly, and now that I have perfect resonance, I am able to do whatever I need to do to get by real quick. There we go. And that's it. That's our map. Now, I know this was a strand map, so it's not like the best example, but, it's just, I actually have to go over here and put on ice shot, don't I? Yeah, I do. Okay. So let's see. This is what I mean. See how we have temp chains. Now I'm gonna remove temp chains. Now I'm gonna get Berserk, and I'm just gonna be able to start bursting down the bosses. Get Berserk again. Burst down the bosses. There we go. Now this, the damage isn't like too crazy. Obviously I am using Ice Shot on a Doomfletch, which is not the best thing in the world to use it on, but I am using it anyway. And I will say that there is some upgrades I can have with Trinity support. I can get the alt quality one, which grants me more attack speed. I can also drop Mirage Archer support and add something like probably the LE Focus gem, and with LE Focus that would just give me insane elemental damage overall, and I'll be able to just start deleting things real quickly. My Tornado Shot isn't even max level, and I'm already able to do some serious clearing, so I'm pretty satisfied with the test of this build, and I'm pretty happy of how it's turning out and where it's going to go. So let's get back into another map. What map is this? This is a temple. I keep getting temple maps, so let me see if I can find a couple more strands, just so you can kind of see how this plays again. As you saw when I was fighting the boss there, it looked like Elemental Equilibrium was going against me. I think that's because my Ice Shot wasn't doing enough elemental damage of other types, so it is what it is. Let's see here. Strand question mark? Do I have any more? Looks like I do. Or don't do. I do, okay. So I'm just gonna pull out a couple more strands. And just so you can kind of see, I don't have any inspired learnings in my tree, and that is a very, very viable jewel to be using. So for this one, we're gonna probably regret this, but no, we're just gonna run this right one real quick because we don't have reses. So one of the things I'm going to try and do is like I said, I'm probably going to drop this altogether. And instead of using impulses, I will use a resistance armor with a lot of reses on it, dual reses, something like that, and use that over using this setup just because I really want to get you know, my reses kind of fixed up.
My mana is gone.
See, as you see, I'm literally going through the map. I'm killing things as I get to them on a tier 14 map. Mirage Archer is doing work for me, and I do appreciate that, so I don't have to worry about that too much. Alright, so now let's see what this is like here. Okay, ooh, I gotta be careful. As you see, I'm only getting 5 poison stacks, and this is good because I only want 5 poison stacks for my, you know, just so I don't kill myself. And that's why I was saying you don't really need more than what you have on your poison stacks. Alright, we got a dream mission, that's cool. And when I get this build more fine-tuned, I will be glad to show you what it will be like with, you know, on a map that is pretty... We'll try it, we'll see if we can't do it. Normally with Tornado Shot I can just kill things before they get to me anyway, so let's just try it. What I will do though, let's see, I could change armor. I could take this out. Instead of Mirage Archer, I could run something a little more useful or more damage oriented. Or actually, instead of Mirage Archer, I'm going to put Awakened Chain in. And there's a reason I'm going to do that, and that's because Hydrosphere. So the way Hydrosphere works is if you hit the Hydrosphere, it'll pulse, and it'll pulse more frequently if you have it quality on it, and if you have the enhance, it'll pulse even more. And on top of it, it pulses for each hit that you hit it with. So basically, if you just keep hitting it over and over and over again, you can potentially do insane amounts of damage just with your Hydrosphere. Alright, so let's go ahead and try this with Chain. And another good thing about Chain is insane clear speed, and it gives you more attack speed on the this version of it, the Awakened. Alright, so let's see if I can't shock someone. We got self-poison going, so... And I insta-died. Well, I gotta be careful. Now, as you saw, I did have my what do you call it? The other gem I'm using, the Trinity support. It's only level 10 going to level 11. I've been actually clearing these maps with the level 1 of it, and I know at max level it gives you just incredible amounts of damage. So that's just something to you know, keep in mind, that, you know, obviously the damage I have now is just, it's nothing compared to the overall damage that I can get.
My mana is gone.
Now, you can also, instead of running your, you know, your Berserk in your helm, if you really want to manual cast it, you can manual cast it for more consistent berserking. It's not a bad thing to do. And there we go, that's a map, that's a yellow map this time. So let's see, let's fight this boss here, and let's see if we can't do some damage to it with just Tornado Shot. And yeah, it's not bad. So tornado shot, I don't have a lot of single target damage. I can probably push it to have more single target damage if I, instead of using the chain, use like LA focus or something. But right now, this is basically the alpha and or beta or whatever you want to call it of where I'm at with the build. So I'm just kind of seeing where it takes me. Without further ado, this has been Chaos-Reighn. Sorry you had to see me just pick an armor and switch an armor right in the beginning, but this was literally a thrown together build that I threw a bunch of uniques on. Obviously I have corruptions on these, so you can have one less frenzy charge if you don't want the frenzy charge, and you don't have to have that movement speed corrupt on this. That's it's a decent amount of less movement speed, but it's not that much less. And if you want a more consistent Berserk, you can self-cast it. But without further ado, this has been my take on a tornado shot raider using pretty much every zoom mechanic you can think of in the game aside from a headhunter, and basically killing it on, you know, a tier, what is this, 14 strand. I'm not going to go back in there and run to the bosses because I'm too lazy, but you know, that's pretty good. I really do like the fact that I was able to push the damage that far and push the build that far in that short of time. When I come back for a update video, it'll probably be a day or two from now. These gloves are actually on loan and I have to return them, but I will definitely show you a version. I do have another pair of them that I have corrupted with a corrupted attack speed instead. So without further ado, this has been Chaos-Reighn. I hope you guys enjoy my really fun, really speedy zoom all around, just crazy crackhead speed tornado shot raider.